welcome tonight to Think, Engage, Thrive. Uh, we have a great guest tonight. A gentleman, you may not know his name. Well, you probably know his last name, but you'll definitely recognize the businesses he's built. John Hewitt, he's built Jackson Hewitt Tax, Liberty Tax, but more important, and those grew exponentially. Liberty Tax was over 4,000 units in North America. Jackson Hewitt over 1,400 or close to 1,400 units in the United States. But more importantly, when he co-founded Jackson Hewitt, he was smart enough and innovative enough to understand that software was one of the keys to being able to scale that business. Obviously, having a good system and being a good franchisor and understanding that model was important, but he was very astute enough to understand the importance of software. So I think that was, when you were talking about it, we're talking about the 70s, I believe. So, brilliant guy. And now he's gone on, and we're going to talk about this. He's gone on and built something called loyalty brands. He's got ATAX on it as well, a new tax business, which is, according to John, the fastest growing tax franchise in the country right now. But he's also got loyalty brands, and he's going to talk about it. He's got Zoomin, Groomin, mobile pet spas, little medical schools. He does things from home inspection to business services, staffing, etc. So really interesting conversation. You've done a tremendous amount of things, and you always wonder. I always wonder about guys like this. I say, my God, it's hard enough building one great brand. Building two great brands is astronomical. But then to go on and continue on, you've got to really understand the economics and have a really good system. So let's bring him in, because I'm really interested in starting this conversation. He's a brilliant guy. So, John, thanks for being here with us. And I tried to give you a good introduction, but I don't think it does you a service, because of all the astounding things that you've done in your career, and you've been doing it for a long time, and you don't seem to be tired of it. So, welcome and thanks for being here.
Thank you, Phil. It's my pleasure.
Yeah. So, John, why don't you take us back? Because I think people want to hear, how did you get this whole thing started? How did you, what prompted you, the story of John Hewitt from the beginning? You there?
Yeah, I give all the credit to starting my. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I give all the credit to starting to my dad. He was a wannabe entrepreneur, except he grew up poor. And I was born while he was a freshman at Michigan State. And he had 3 more children before he graduated. So he never really had a chance to exercise his entrepreneurial spirit until I was in college. And in college, I was at the University of Buffalo. And
You there?
block franchise. So in 1969, he called up H&R Block and said, "We'd like to buy a franchise in Hamburg, a suburb of Buffalo, and where we live." And they said, "We're going to put a company store there. Why don't you have your son take our tax course?" And so I took it and I loved it. And I decided, I was so blessed that I decided when I was 20 years old what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I started working 12 years later. I was running 250 H&R Block locations.
Wow. That's amazing. And then I guess you decided you didn't want to stay with H&R Block. You saw something better, or you.
Yeah, exactly. My dad, again, he bought one of the first Apples by mail. That computer's so old, it's in the Smithsonian. And he liked it better than the mainframe that was running his public company. So he said, "Let's computerize taxes." And it took him, I was happy at Block. I was top management, 30 years old, loving life. And it took him about almost a year to convince me to leave H&R Block, but I left H&R Block, and in 1981 we built the first tax software for an Apple computer.
That's
And
amazing.
you're right, it's way ahead of its time. No one wanted it. In fact, in 1983, in their annual meeting, H&R Block said, Fortune 500 companies said, people ask us why we don't computerize. He said, why should we? It doesn't save us any money. Customers don't care. We're never going to computerize. So that's how visionary H&R Block was. Meantime, we're going full throttle and building the great software that put us years ahead of H&R Block.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. And do you think that that's the key component that really helped Jackson Hewitt scale? I think we have a delay. Can you not hear me?
Yeah, we saw that as the future of we do. We're on some kind of delay.
Yeah.
But yeah, we saw that as the future of tax preparation, and we couldn't sell to anyone. It was way ahead of its time, and so we got lucky and we found a company called Jackson Tax Service here in Virginia Beach, and we bought 6 offices from his widow. We changed the name to Jackson Hewitt, merged the 2 companies, and grew it for 15 years, public company, and sold it in 1997 for $483 million.
Wow. That's fantastic. And then you exited that, and then you I guess you got bored with being exited.
Yeah, looked around for something to do, and I had a 3-year non-compete. And one of the things we did was we looked at Canada, because having grown up in Buffalo, I had done Canadian tax returns. Jackson Hewitt wasn't in Canada, so my non-compete didn't cover Canada. So we're able to start Liberty Tax in Canada without any constraint. And within 3 years, grew it to be over 200 locations, one of the top 100 retail chains in Canada. And so now I built one of the top 100 retail chains in Canada and one in the United States. Came back when my non-compete ended in 2000, came back to the United States, and now I had to compete against my own name, my own people, my own system, my own software. And yet, not only did we go faster than Jackson Hewitt, we grew faster than them and H&R Block combined. We opened 4,000 offices in 12 years, top 10 fastest growing ever. Became one of my 2 top 100 retail chains. No one else has ever built 2 of the top 100 except for me. And again, public company worth $500 million. So again, I sold my stock and started Loyalty Brands.
That's an incredible feat to do with two companies. What obviously along the way you had to hit some sort of obstacles that you had to overcome. What sort of obstacles did you hit?
Boy, I wrote a book, and in the book it's called I Compete, and I think that the biggest compliment I get about the book is I talk about all the mistakes that I've made. And they say that people that are most successful made the most mistakes, and I agree with that. But here, there's just so many mistakes. Here's one of the largest mistakes I made. When I started Jackson Hewitt back in August of '82, they had 6 locations, and H&R Block had 9,000. And I told my investors, our goal is to have 9,001. So I needed to open 8,995 offices. That was our goal, to get to 9,001. And so had good growth. We went from 6 offices in August to 11 in January. The second January, we had 15. And it was going into the third January, we were going to have 22 locations. And I said, well, that's not bad growth in 2.5 years to go from 6 locations to 22. But at this rate, I'm going to be like 3,000 years old before we catch up to H&R Block. So I stopped having company stores and switched to franchising. And then the growth went crazy. We went from 22 to 49 to 200 to 400 to 600. So one of the biggest mistakes I made in my whole career was not franchising immediately when I started Jackson Hewitt. And it was not very smart in the sense that I had seen H&R Block grow by franchising. And I was with Block when they grew from 3,000 locations to 9,000 locations. And the vast majority of them were franchises. So I didn't learn from the lessons that I should have from H&R Block. So huge mistake.
Yeah. I would imagine that the key to successful franchising, I'm not a franchise person. So, and I don't know if we have listeners or viewers who are, but I would imagine the key is to have a great system, right? So and part of that system has to be not just the operational piece, but also customer acquisition.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been blessed in all of my companies to have the lowest cost of customer acquisition of in the industry. And so that's exactly it. You have to have differentiators. If you copy your competitor who's far bigger, then he's going to squash you. You know, if David had gone onto the field with the same sword and armor and shield as Goliath, there would be no David and Goliath story. He'd just be the 189th guy killed by Goliath.
Yeah.
So you have to have your differentiators. You have to have your things that are objectively better than your competitor.
Right. Yeah. And so for Jackson Hewitt, I would imagine was the software piece, right? And then for Liberty Tax, what do you think that point of differentiation was?
Yeah, you're exactly right. We were our software was better, and we had software years before H&R Block did, and then so we were way ahead in developing it. So it was better software for decades. Just before I left Jackson Hewitt, I read a book called Guerrilla Marketing. Name of the book, Guerrilla Marketing, and I just fell in love with the concept. Because when you think about it, Phil, in Virginia Beach today, there are almost 600,000 people.
Right.
And there are 50,000 businesses. So you're competing with 50,000 other businesses trying to get the attention of each consumer. And in our industry, there's a couple hundred competitors, but there's 50,000 businesses trying to catch a customer's attention. And so everyone, I mean, there's hundreds of them are on TV, and thousands are on the radio, and hundreds do direct mail, and thousands are on the internet. And so everyone's doing the same thing. So you got to do things different. So we invented the Statue of Liberty costume.
Yeah.
And we have, and I don't know if you've seen in your area, but most of the people in this country have seen a Lady Liberty waving at them when they pass by in the street. Now, out of the 50,000 businesses in Virginia Beach, guess how many have a costume character out in front? 0. So we own that method of marketing, and it works primarily because no one else is doing it.
Yeah.
Another thing we do is part of guerrilla marketing is we dress up, and now with ATAX, we have our new tax company. We have an eagle costume, and we dress up and we go business to business, and people love their costume characters. You know, they'll honk at us when we're in the street. They smile when we walk in their store. No one ever throws us out for bothering them, right? They take their picture with us. They take our cookies or donuts, and so guerrilla marketing really set us apart at Liberty Tax.
Yeah. I have a funny guerrilla marketing story for you that I did when I several years ago. I founded a shaving company, and we're competing. The only thing we were going after was lowering the price of razors. Right? We had an American-made product, but what I was really interested in was selling the skincare side of it, aftershave, creams, shaving cream, aftershave, etc. So the razors were really the tripwire, but when we first started, we were doing all the traditional e-commerce things. We were doing ads, we were doing things, and it was working, but it wasn't working the way I wanted it to. And one morning I woke up, I'm a sports fan. I love baseball. And I read this story about this baseball player, Brian Wilson, used to play for the San Francisco Giants, was a pitcher. And he had Tommy John surgery, got traded to the Dodgers. And it was the first time he was going to pitch in a year. And he had a beard, epic beard, even more so than yours. And he loved it. It was fantastic. So I called up his people and I sent a letter. We sent an email and I said, I'll pay Brian Wilson $1 million to shave with our razors at the stadium, at Dodger Stadium. And they said, well, we'll have to talk with Brian. We'll discuss it. And that's all I needed. I took that, I gave it to our PR firm, and we pushed it out. And all of a sudden, within days, everything just started exploding because half of the world was mad at us for how could we offer a millionaire $1 million to shave, just to shave. And people on social media were sending us pictures of their body parts with price tags on them. I'll shave this for 10,000. I'll shave this for 5,000. And then all the news, all the sports news all around the world, here, France, Japan, were calling us up trying to figure out why we were going to give $1 million. And that really launched us. And it went on for about 2 weeks. It was incredible. And then TMZ caught Brian Wilson coming out of a gym in California, in Los Angeles, and they asked him if he was going to take the $1 million. Oh, I think we lost him. He's having some terrible problems with his internet, and I apologize for that. Some things are just unforeseen, so hopefully we'll get him back in. Hopefully he'll dial back in quickly. But to listen to his stories, he's a fascinating guy. But still, without any real reason to continue. So he's obviously not doing it for the money because he's cashed out of 2 different businesses. So he's obviously not hurting for money, which is, unbelievable. But so he's doing it because he still loves the game. So that's interesting, but we want to find out some more information from him. But he seems to have dropped off. He lost his internet connection, it appears. So, yep, here he comes. He's back. So give it a second. And are you there?
I'm back. I can hear you.
Okay. So anyway, that was my big guerrilla marketing story. That's how I got.
Let me tell you another one that I love. This was very smart. A Philadelphia cream cheese.
Yeah.
They Philadelphia Eagles were going to Dallas in a playoff game, and they were playing the Cowboys. And some grocery store, really smart idea. They said they took all of the Philadelphia cream cheese off the aisle, so they got national publicity. This regional grocery chain in Dallas got national publicity because they banned Philadelphia cream cheese from their stores.
That's great. Yeah, it's great. You have to do things like that. You're 100% right. We preach that all the time. You've got to break.
Did you ever pay the $1 million?
No. What happened? TMZ caught Brian coming out of a gym in Los Angeles, and they asked him, "Are you going to shave for $1 million?" He said, "I'm not shaving my beard off for any amount of money." And then it went wild again for two weeks because people were mad at him for not taking the money. It it was the funniest thing, but we got, significant orders out of it and a lot of publicity, and that really launched us, because traditional advertising wasn't working.
And it doesn't. You have to do something different. If you want to be explosive, you got to do something different.
Yeah.
So you're old enough to remember when AOL gave out like 100 million free discs, and people were throwing them on the lawns and all over the place.
Yeah. It was and they became the number one internet provider. What's different about ATAX than what you've done in the past, and why did you want to go back into taxes?
The taxes is great for so many reasons, but one reason is it's fragmented, and people think they hear the household names like H&R Block and Jackson Hewitt and Liberty Tax, but the three of them combined have less than 20% market share.
Is that right?
There's over 80% are done by mom and pops. So there's still room to grab more market share. And what has happened is over the last 10 years, the number of people that pay a prepare that are non-Hispanic is declining about 1% a year. So, but the Hispanic percentage of people that are filing grows 7 or 8% a year. So all of those companies are poor at going after the Hispanic market. And so I acquired a Hispanic chain of tax preparation to take advantage of that, because it's like H&R Block, Jackson Hewitt, and Liberty say, here, John, you have the Spanish market. So they're all fighting over the part of the market that's declining, whereas we're into the Hispanic market and dominating the Hispanic market that's growing. Wow. So that was one of our initiatives. And then we do some novel things that no one does in any industry. So one of the things we invented is we call our customers after they've been in. Now, virtually every company surveys customers. And in the 21st century, it's by email primarily, or a few by text or by mail. But we call all our customers, and they love it. They love it because no one else is calling them. And we ask, how do we do for you? And what I've learned, Phil, is that in my industries, my people in the front line are not good at asking for referrals. So you do a tax preparation return, and they're embarrassed. They're embarrassed to ask for a referral. You groom a dog, and you're embarrassed to ask for a referral. So we have a very personable person call every customer, say, how do we do for you? Customers are, 95% of them are ecstatic, and then say, do you have any friends or that know anyone that we could help that would like our services? And so our retention goes up double digits because they like being called. They'll return the next year more often, and our referrals are up over 50%. Wow. So we have some things like that we do better than anyone else. Not only better than companies in our own industry, but in all industries.
Yeah, that's true. People are hesitant to ask for a referral, and they'll ask for a review, but they won't ask for a referral.
Right.
Yeah. And that's so let's move on now to loyalty brands, because that seems to be very fascinating to me, because you've sort of set up this umbrella outside of tax. You've set up this umbrella where you've now got all these other businesses. Can we talk a little bit about that? Because you've got 8, I think you said 8 businesses.
Exactly.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about,
Sure. We have, my favorite, I fell in love with pets. I just love the pet industry. For a lot of reasons. Number one is more people have pets than have children.
Yeah.
And the people that have children, they surveyed in the last few years, they like the pets better than their children. And people are just spending massive amount on their pets. The pet industry has more than doubled over the last 6 years, and it's projected to double again over the next 6 years. So it's pets, pets, pets. I mean, I learned a long time ago there's two certainties in life, death and tax. And then about 30 years ago, I read a book by Dennis Waitley. There's a third certainty, and that's change. But now there's a fourth certainty that people are going to love their pets
Yeah.
and take care of them, and they extend their life. They'll have operations and medicine and everything they can do to extend the lives of their pet. And it's extraordinary. And the beauty is there's in the pet industry, there's no in mobile, there's no brand name, there's no national name, there's no McDonald's, there's no H&R Block, there's no Subway, there's no Pizza Hut, there's no Kentucky Fried Chicken or Chick-fil-A. There's no name. And so by the end of this year, in our third year, we'll be the largest mobile pet grooming in the country. And the sky's the limit. It's going to be my third top 100 chain. So now I'm the only one that's done two, and now I have done it a third time. And it's going to be mobile pet grooming.
Top 100 in how many years, or is it just top 100?
It'll take 5 more years. So in our 8th year, we'll be top 100 of all retail chains, franchise chains in the United States.
With Zoomin Groomin, it's what's called.
Zoomin Groomin, yep.
Yeah, you had said before
in 5 years it'll be a household name.
Yeah. Well, I hope so, because like I said to you, I was using, and that's another fragmented industry, because it's all independence, but there just doesn't seem to be longevity in people doing it. I'm not sure why. Maybe they get tired, maybe they get bored, maybe they just don't want to do it. I don't know, but it definitely, I am one of those people that loves their pets just as much as their children, and so for me, it sounds fantastic. But you had mentioned before that you wrote a book, and we jumped past it. What's the name of your book?
The name of my book is I Compete. And if your listeners would like one, they can send an email to send it to Jessica at loyaltybrands.com, and she'll send them a free book.
Oh, I'll put that in the Jessica. I'll put that in the description of the show, and I'll let people know that. That's very generous. So what are the other brands that you have under Loyalty Brands?
Another is home inspection. We do inspection boys, and we do home inspections and mold inspections in pools and so forth. So that kind of goes up and down a little bit with the housing industry, but there was a little lull in housing with the interest rates going up, but that's starting to grow fast again. We also have an unusual one, because most people haven't heard of business brokers. Everyone's heard of real estate realtors. Well, realtors buy and sell houses. Business brokers buy and sell businesses.
Right.
And the beauty of that is there's 33 million businesses in the United States, but there's only 4,000 business brokers. So there's a huge opportunity in terms of there's lack of competition. There's not a lot of competition in the business broker industry. Another one is staffing. We have a staffing company where we hire and find employees and get jobs for people. Little Medical School is a feel good business, because in that we're teaching daycare, not daycare, but after school and summer programs for children 4 to 14. And I love seeing the children in there. We give everyone a lab coat and a stethoscope. And I feel that more of our children in this country are going to go into medical field because they take our classes. And we have over 150 modules on different medical procedures.
That's incredible. That's funny. I do know a little bit about the business brokerage side of it, because when you think about what you said, the number of businesses in the country, most of them are not, they're independents. And the independents, when it comes time to wanting to sell, they really don't know where to go, who to turn to. So you're you're 100% right that it's a wide open field, because nobody's really marketing to them. Nobody's saying we'll help you when the time comes, and building up, I would imagine, building up a relationship with some of these in your area, right? If I'm a franchisee, I've got a territory, I want to come in contact with all those people so that when they do get the idea to sell, they're going to come to
Right.
me. Yeah.
Exactly. And not only, many of them don't understand they have something to sell.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't think about it in those terms, I guess. Yeah, it's a unique area. So, are there, with loyalty brands, are there complementary brands that work together, or do you have people that come to you and say, I want to be a franchisee for, this brand, and this brand, or does it work like that, or is it mostly just people wanting to have their own business and using your model?
Most of the people that, and we have over 20,000 inquiries a year, and most of the people know what industry they want to be in. So they want to be in tax, or they want to be in our roofing company, and they want to be in roofing, or they want to be in staffing, or they want to be in mobile grooming. They know when they approach us, but some of them change in as they're considering it to one of our other brands, and even a less amount, but some do more than one brand. We have one organization on Long Island, in Smithtown, Long Island, that owns 5 different brands. So a few people only, I mean, we have 1,000 franchises, only 10 of them have more than 2 brands, but we have about 40 that have 2 brands.
That's pretty, yeah, that's pretty fascinating. What how do you how do you market for franchisees? So how are you finding them? Because you have to do, you say you get 20,000 inquiries a year, or however many, how are they coming to you? What's your inbound sort of look like?
I'm not an expert on that, because I have, my chief marketing officer has been with me 35 years.
Oh,
And she was my chief marketing officer at Jackson Hewitt, at Liberty, and now at Loyalty. So I just say, go give me the leads. So I know that, so I don't pay close attention, but we try every source you can imagine. Back 30 years ago, it was mailing and the Wall Street Journal and USA Today, but now it's internet. So
yeah,
they're experts at marketing on the internet.
yeah, yeah. I was wondering, because you always see these ads on like the Meta, Facebook, Instagram, about franchises, and they always just, they're not professionally done. They're obviously not groups like you that have really hone that franchise, or really hone that business model. And then LinkedIn is always sort of sketchy when it comes to people outreaching to you. Do you want to?
One of us is having technical troubles.
Yeah, you can't hear me. Are we having a delay? You can't hear me? You can't hear me at all? We are having a little technical trouble. I hope you don't drop off again. You can't hear me? Can you see me? Can you hear me? You can't hear me or see me? John? Can you hear me? This is weird. This never happened before. I don't know how to solve this because it looks like you're there.
So I'm assuming you can't hear me, but I can't hear anything you're saying. Bill.
Unbelievable. I can hear you. You can't hear me. I don't know why that would be. I can't. Let me see. Yeah, my microphone is on. Let me check all the settings. My microphone is on. John, I don't know. I don't know. I can hear you, but you can't hear me. So I'm not sure what happened there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do. You can't hear me at all? No? Still no? Can you see me? I don't know. I don't know what to do here. I apologize. I'm not sure what's happening. I don't know what the issue is. Let me see if I can put some. Hang on. Let me create a banner. Yeah.
Yeah, you're really delayed. And let me say this: yes, we do LinkedIn, and we do everything, but we're experts at it. We're experts at it. We're one of the just as we're great at getting customers. No, I can't hear. Just barely a word or two here and there.
I don't know what happened. I hope it's not your. I think it's on your internet side.
Definitely a delay.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never had this.
I heard that clearly.
Which did you hear?
I can now.
Oh, okay. You can hear me now? Okay. I don't know. I'm checking the internet connection and it's all.
I haven't dropped. I'm still here. I can now. I can.
You're listening.
I can both. Yes. Yes, I'm here. I am here.
Can you see the screen?
Okay, now we're back. Now you're back, and now you're back in sync, I think.
Okay. Can you hear me? No, we're not back in sync, John.
I can. Off and on, sporadically.
Can you hear me now? No, you still can't hear me. you're
Unfortunately, we're live, so
I know.
I didn't hear any of your questions except I can.
And
Now it's delayed back 15 minutes.
yeah. Do you hear me now when I just said that?
I can.
Okay.
I can.
Okay. All right. I'm not sure. I've never experienced anything like this. I've never seen it
I
happen.
can.
You're still not hearing me.
I can. Yes.
I know. You're still not hearing me. You're like 10 minutes behind. I have no idea
But
where
it's
you
not
are.
in sync.
I know. I know. I've never experienced this.
Yes, I'm hearing you, but I'm hearing you minutes later. Yes. Yeah, I'm hearing you many minutes later. What time does your screen say? Mine says I can. It's 6:42. This
Okay, can you hear that? No, you're still delayed. This is bad.
I did.
Uh,
Why don't we just cut it off and do it another time?
yeah, I think we're gonna have to.
Thank you.
All right. I'll see you.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, I enjoyed having you. Fortunately, we lost about 15 minutes.
Unfortunately, it was live. If it was taped, you could just cut it all off.
Yeah, we don't do tapes. I try and do them live, but you're right. We lost about 15 minutes.
Well, we can do it all over again.
We can. I have no problem doing that. I'll get in touch with you and we can reschedule or something. But
Thank you, Phil.
all right, thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
I don't know what happened there. I've never experienced that before, and it's sometimes things just go wrong. What can you do? Anyway, interesting guy. Look him up. You can read about him. He does some fantastic things. Really smart guy. I'd love to have him on again and see what the problem is with his internet, because he kept dropping off, and we're on a. That kind of delay. I've never seen a delay like that. Seconds maybe, but not that long. So anyway, I apologize for that. I apologize for the problems. There's nothing we can do about it. It happens when we go live. But anyway, we'll have a link to the show. We'll have a link to John's book, all those types of things, and we'll go from there. Again, I apologize, but we'll end this a little bit early today. Okay. Thanks for joining us.